conclude that yes, there's a, there's a scientific and technological race really happening over who will successfully demonstrate the development of a vaccine, of a efficacious vaccine, and but sadly Africa is not in the picture.
But what about the COVID organic, the one that Madagascar?
Yeah. So that was a distraction, because Madagascar is now crying for help. Madagascar is having a surge in COVID-19 cases and mortality rates that are higher than what the country can cope with. So their COVID organics has not even been able to help them. And that is why, honestly, it's very important for people to be very cautious about the kind of claims you make.
Okay.
And there's a possibility that that country may have thrown precaution to the wind because they believe they had the cure.
Yeah.
But eventually, now it turns out that despite that particular, which of course, the active ingredient is artemisia, which is an ingredient that is the basis for the artemisinin drug, which is used for managing malaria. And so clearly it was not the cure that it was touted to be. And Madagascar is crying out for help to manage a surge in COVID-19 cases and COVID-19 mortality. We hope that that Africa can get involved in the space for research, both for cures as well as for vaccines. But also, more importantly, we hope that African Union can be able to, as a bloc, negotiate some form of concession, and with support from WHO, so that when eventually a vaccine is demonstrated to be efficacious, that Africa does not necessarily have to wait in the queue, until the needs of Western nations are met, that there could be some concessions given to African countries to gain access to the vaccine, at least for use by people who are, who fall within the vulnerable population, if not everybody. Yeah.
Wow. So thank you for the time. And lastly, I would like you to advise our religious institution, as Lagos will be opening, the religious centers will be opening very soon in Lagos. So can you just
first of all, we recognize that religion plays a very major role in the life of citizens of this country. I mean, perhaps maybe more than some other places. The overwhelming majority of the country, perhaps over 90%, identify with one faith or the other, whether Islam or Christianity, which are the major religious groups in the country, and identify in such a way that they recognize the authority, that these institutions represent, and there's a certain level of trust that goes with their adherence to their faith in this religion, to the extent that, unfortunately, in the past, a lot of religious people have exploited and manipulated for personal gain. But this is the time now for religious institutions to tap into that inherent trust and confidence that their lay faithful, depose on them. Yeah. We also know that, in some countries in the world, if you ask, what is the reason why people congregate in large gatherings? In some places, they will tell you, in places like UK, and America, the biggest reason that people come together in large numbers is for what reason? It's for sporting activities.
Yeah.
Sporting activities happen very frequently, and they bring together large numbers of people.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, what is the reason that for which people congregate together? It's religious activities. You are more likely to see a religious gathering in Nigeria than a sports gathering.
Yeah.
But in the US, you are more likely to see people gather for sporting reason than for religion. And so bearing that in mind, and that's the reason why, the government, as part of the restriction measures, put restriction on religious activities because of the potential of these activities to be platforms for massive spread of coronavirus. And these restrictions have been lifted in some cities with guidelines on how to ensure that people can congregate safely. And in Lagos, which we all know it has the largest population in the country, and has Lagos and Ogun, between them have the biggest worship arenas in the country as well. So, they are being opened from next week and with some guidelines. So it's so in terms of the advice for them, one, it's very essential to what is the reason why people congregate in large gathering. In some places they will tell you, in places like UK, and America, the biggest reason that people come together in large numbers is for what reason? It's for sporting activities. Sporting activities happen very frequently and they bring together large numbers of people. In Nigeria, what is the reason that for which people congregate together? It's religious activities. Where you are more likely to see a religious gathering in Nigeria than a sports gathering. But in the US, you are more likely to see people gather for sporting reason than for religion. And so bearing that in mind, and that's the reason why the government, as part of the restriction measures, put restriction on religious activities because of the potential of these activities to be platforms for massive spread of coronavirus. And these restrictions have been lifted in some cities with guidelines on how to ensure that people can congregate safely. And in Lagos, which we all know it has the largest population in the country, and has Lagos and Ogun, between them have the biggest worship arenas in the country as well. So, they are being opened from next week and with some guidelines. So it's so in terms of the advice for them, one, it's very essential to ensure that these guidelines are adhered to and complied with. Very, very importantly, if your congregation is safe, then it is in your overall interest. And on the other hand, if you don't abide by them, then you run a very major risk of affecting the health and safety of your congregation. Then secondly, the pulpits should be a very, very strong platform for correct and appropriate messaging on COVID-19. Like for example, some of the information I've shared now, if there's an opportunity for clerics to have sessions whereby they can receive appropriate information on COVID-19, which they can in turn use the pulpit as a platform for messaging, in terms of being able to talk about the nature of the condition, the symptoms, how it is spread, and to empower people to be able to take the right steps to protect themselves, and also if they fall ill, to empower them to know that they can seek treatment. Then thirdly, also related to that, one of the biggest problems to care seeking for COVID-19 is the issue of stigmatization. Unfortunately, the issue of stigma is not being handled, and if you hear the stories of survivors of COVID-19, quite a number of them are still suffering from stigmatization in their communities, in their environment. Some of them, the identity they now have is attached to COVID-19. That man now where gets coronavirus. You won't go that man's house, I beg go, no go. So a lot of them are still living with the pain of COVID-19, and guess what? It is affecting it's acting as a hindrance for other people to want to seek care. Nobody wants to be associated with conditions. Some people would rather hide the nature of their symptoms or hide the fact that they may have been exposed to somebody just because they don't want that toga of COVID-19. But what that does is that they not only endanger their health and risk suffering an unwanted outcome, but they may also be inadvertently spreading the condition if they are infected. So we all know that the biggest institution that can tackle the issue of stigmatization is the church, is the religious institutions, both church and mosque. Because if religious leaders can come together and work with their congregation to tackle the issue of stigma and discrimination, it will go a long way. And if we can tackle that combined with right and appropriate messaging on COVID-19, it will give us as a country a very good chance of defeating COVID-19 within the shortest possible time.
Wow. Thank you very much, Doctor,
My pleasure.
for coming around.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I must confess that I've learned a lot today. I will call this the hidden truths. You understand?
Yeah.
Because the last point you just made now is so is so enlightening. Like, we, the religious men, we need to educate our people about. I didn't even know about the stigma attached to it now.
Issue.
So I think we really need to do a lot in that area. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming around, and I hope anytime we invite you again to update us, you will always be.
Yeah, not just COVID-19, any other health issue, I will be happy to
Thank
speak
you
to
very
it.
much,
Thank you
Doctor.
very much.
I appreciate all of you for taking out time to watch this video, and if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you.